If you feel like your symptoms decide what you do and who you can be, if you still have symptoms, be bold and ask your healthcare provider about Cobenfy, a twice daily pill for the treatment of schizophrenia. Cobenfy is not an antipsychotic, it's a different kind of treatment. Cobenfy showed overall improvement across a range of schizophrenia symptoms. And in clinical studies, most people saw no symptoms.
Chaz, you on, buddy? Chaz, you there? Yeah. Good. You hear me? Let me hear you talk. Turn. Let me unmute you. Hold on. Let me see how to get this wall up here. Ask to unmute. Yeah. You hear me?
Watching this game. This game is crazy right now.
What game?
Cubs versus the Padres. It's do or die, just like the last game. Shortstop Dansby Swanson just made an amazing play. The Cubs 2-0. Let me see if I can kill these announcers. They're horrible.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened, brother.
They're really bad.
All right. We got 10 minutes still, so
I know. I had to download. This is a work version versus the normal Zoom that I had on my computer. So this
no,
is,
you could use the same. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have the work Zoom.
it said I had to do work Zoom or something. I had to log into that and do that.
I don't know. Don't
I put a background in. I have a sunny background with whatever. I don't know. I don't even know how to get to it, to tell you the truth. Wait a moment.
Yeah. So I have, so you can see, I have, so I have the pictures that you sent. So I'll go through some of that stuff. We'll talk about that kind of stuff like that. We'll go through. Then I got all the pictures. We'll talk about how you got your start and stuff like that. And then I want to
Whatever
talk.
you don't worry about it, I'll figure it out. So where is it even? It doesn't air anywhere. It just
Not
is a
yet,
Zoom
not
for
yet.
anyone
But
that
it's going to
comes.
be on. It's going to be part of that learning library on my website. So all these conversations are going to be up on my website and on the YouTube. So all my members can go in there and watch these and learn from them.
Okay,
So
no problem. And who else am I the only guest speaker, or did you get someone else?
uh I don't know. There may be somebody else who joins. It depends. Like I usually have one or two. I was trying to get another video guy to join with McCalloran and other guys are like traveling. So it's not, I don't know if it's gonna work out. So we'll see who jumps on. And but
Yeah.
you have enough to go through. You've been I could easily do my time with you and we'll go through it. And it goes fast, dude. I'm telling you, the conversations just go, you know.
Okay.
So it's just you and I talking about, your career, how you got your start and everything else. So next time you
Let me
see
go
me,
get one of my Emmys so I can rub it in your face.
yeah, please do. Please, how many you got?
I don't know because you have to buy them. It's ridiculous.
All right. I guess I'll mute you. No, I don't think I have to, but we'll see what happens.
Hey, Hardy,
You.
ask me about Cuba.
Okay.
Because that'll be a time killer right there.
All right. I'll ask you about some of the
Let's see if
child.
I have anything from that. I have a book here. I wanted to see if I still have it.
All right.
Grandma's. Can you mute me until you
Yep. I'm going to mute you, but this, remember, I'll ask you to unmute when you see me talking. All right. You're muted. I'm going to mute me. I'm going to probably mute me now till we go live. Alexa, play that song We're Talking Baseball.
Here's Talkin' Baseball, Willie, Mickey and the Duke by Terry Cashman on Amazon Music.
Alexa, play. Alexa, play Talking Baseball.
Here's Talkin' Baseball, Willie, Mickey and the Duke by Terry Cashman on Amazon Music.
Alexa, play baseball songs.
Here's Baseball Changeup, including Todd Rundgren and AC/DC on Amazon Music.
Alexa, why do you stop playing?
Amazon Music is streaming on another device. Would you like to stream from here instead?
Yes.
Drum and hold on. The sun came out today. We're born again. There's new grass on the hill. Brown the bird and headed for home. The brown handsome man. In the wild,
Alexa, stop. Welcome to Crew Call Live. Tonight, we're talking baseball. I am so excited today to have a good friend of mine who wanted to join me. I actually dressed for the occasion. He'll know what I'm talking about. We are going to talk baseball. We're going to talk World Series, but we're first going to start with his name, Dave Chesney. How are you, Dave? You know what? First thing I should do is ask him to unmute his mic. That would probably be the first thing to do. And boom.
I thought you were supposed to do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Well,
Leader of the
obviously,
group.
camera guy, no audio. Audio has never been my strong suit. You know what I'm saying? But we all know. Listen, if you hear me on this, this is about as good as it's going to get. But Dave, I'm so happy that you're joining me today on Crew Call Live. We've been talking. Listen, you and I go way back. I consider you one of my mentors. Absolutely, because when I was,
I mean, I'm older than you.
you are. But you know what? You were definitely achieved. I mean. Wait, all right, let's just start at the beginning because we had
Hey, before you even
got
go
on
there,
your path early.
before you
we
even
both
go
started.
there, whoa. I'm gonna hijack this already. I worked this morning, the last 2 days, and I met two cameramen that I had no idea who they are, what they do, and anything. And one of the directors texted me and said, "You are talking to a legend." Then I sent Mario Zecca a text, asked him about the one guy. Goes, he's a legend. And then another guy I met today, and I found out that he's a legend and he's funny. And so here I've been in the business for so long, and there are so many operators out there around the country that do different sports that you go, holy smokes, they're amazing, and they all have their own little niche. So don't talk me up too much. There's way more better people out there than what I do. I have my strong points, and I'll tell you what they are. But
Well, no, that's good. I mean, I'm glad you say that because you're right. There are a lot of great cameramen out there, and it's important to say it because you know what? I don't want people out there thinking that you know what it's already seems like such a difficult business to get in. I don't want people to think it's going to be so hard to get to the top. No, you know what? There's plenty of room at the top. That's what I really want people to understand. You just have to want to work hard enough to get there. And then staying there is a different story. You know what I mean? Everything is up there. But I want to start at the beginning, Dave, because you and I both had a similar beginning. We started in cable. Where did you start your first job in television?
Technically, my first job in television was at the Center for Media Arts in Manhattan. And I went to school there after a year of college. It's now gone. It was across the street on 26th Street from The Guiding Light, which aired on CBS at the time. So it's
actually All Mobile Studios where I did my workshop. That was the school.
Yeah, I know it's changed hands, and just being in New York City, and but going back, I was in high school and I didn't play baseball my senior year, and all of a sudden the local cable company, Suburban Cablevision, came and covered one of our high school games, and that's when I decided that I wanted to talk to somebody, because I had previously gone to a Yankee game and I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. And then I broke my arm and those dreams went away. And then I started staring at the cameras and I'm looking around, looking around. Oh, there's a tally light there. Oh, that must be the camera. And from that point on, that I went to Yankee Stadium, and literally like the next day the cable company came to our high school and set up their little truck and this and that, and I talked to a couple people there that I'm still friends with over 40 years ago, and they're bigwigs. This guy Steve Mayer was the first person I talked to. He's now in charge of like all the entertainment for the NHL, and he wasn't even an NHL person. He's an NBA guy. He loves it, and he worked tennis tournaments and this that. And now he's in charge of all the entertainment for the Winter Classics and everything for the NHL. But anyway, long story short, found this. Went to Jersey City State College.
Oh no, don't tell me I'm gonna lose you on this, Ches. You don't have good Wi-Fi, Ches?
Hello, I see
uh,
you frozen, Hardy.
no, I see you frozen, buddy. Let's see. You back with me?
I'm gonna go back to watching the baseball game now.
No, come back in here. You lost. You don't hear me? Oh, great. My first technical malfunction, and it will be with Ches. Let me tell him, let me have him rejoin the call. See how do we handle our first thing here? Okay. Ches, do you hear me? I don't think he does. Okay. I'm telling him to rejoin. Let's see if he's figured this out and see if I can admit him. He just walked away. Well, I guess he was talking a lot about where he got started in local cable and suburban cable. I got started similarly in my experience. I started at TCI Cable, which was a local cable station, but they didn't come to the school where I was. I mean, my kind of weird story with how I got into the cable thing was my degree. Some of you guys might know my degree was in marketing management, and then all of a sudden I was working as a security guard while I was in college, which was a great job. You know what I mean? It was a nice hotel. I got discounts when I traveled, and my mom had worked for the airline, so it was even better because I used to get the airline tickets, and then I had the hotel tickets, and then you kind of hit on the girls at the front desk and whatever. It was a good job for what it was. But when I graduated college, I don't forget my degree was in advertising. I was thinking maybe I'll have to get a real job in ads, but I was at that time commercials were changing from the 30 seconds to the infomercial, the longer form thing. And then I literally shit you guys, and I'm not telling you this because it's just fake. Sometimes it gets in your life and you just can't ignore it. But I was working. This is a crazy story, but I didn't think I'd ever share the whole thing. But since I'm waiting for Chad to come back in here, and if he does, hopefully he does. It's not. I think Mario's on. We can always talk to Mario a little bit about what's going on with the World Series. He has done many in his career too. But the crazy story was while I was working at that silly job in White Plains at a hotel, had graduated with not a degree in television, a degree in marketing management. Like I said, I wanted to be an ad man, right? So I get this degree and I'm working at this hotel, and IBM, this is I graduated 90 something. I forget early. And then this is IBM, which is headquarters in Armonk, decides to rent out the entire, every single conference room, every boardroom and conference room in the hotel, and almost every room in the hotel. And then they'd come to the security guard and they say, listen, we want to have 24-hour security at all these rooms so I was working there and they were like, we'll pay you double what the hotel pays you. So I was like, as a young guy, I'm like, great. I'll take all this money, any day. Right. So I take the money and I'm working overnight, and for like weeks, these guys, IBM guys, are in the conference rooms doing their thing. And, eventually they're talking to me. I'm a young kid. I'm just there for the money. And so I'm like, all right, they're asking me about where do I go to eat in town. So I'm like, this place is good. This place is. So finally, I'm asking these guys, like, I don't really know what's going on. I go, why are you guys all here doing all this? And why aren't you, why wouldn't you be doing this at Armonk? You have, a whole campus there. It's huge. I've seen it, And they're like, no, we're doing something. We're doing something that we didn't want to bring in house. This is back when when IBM made PCs and they had, computers was a big thing. And they were like, we're going to change our operating system. So something that we're going to call Windows. All right. I don't know if you can hear what I'm saying, but I knew about Windows before there was a Windows installed in any PC computer. But I was a 20-something-year-old kid, just out of college kid who didn't really know anything about stock market. I think that might be insider trading. I don't know. I might be in jail for it. But if I took the money that I made that weekend for IBM and just invested it in like Microsoft, I would have much better cameras and audio, and I wouldn't have the issues I'm having tonight with Ches. Oh, Ches! Admit Ches. Oh God. Oh, thank you, Ches. Please unmute yourself. Let me ask him to unmute. So that my story was I should be a millionaire. I'm not. I'm dealing with audio issues. Ches, you back, my friend?
I hear you now. I'm doing it on my phone.
Oh, great. Don't worry about it. That's a great picture anyway. So we'll deal with it. So where did we leave off with you? You were talking about suburban cable.
I thought we were off the air and it was over with.
We were. You froze, man. You're killing me, bro.
I froze. Maybe it was your system. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out. Zoom is Zoom, but I don't know. I told the story. I was telling the story about how I should be a millionaire and how I'm not, and then I ended up going home from that. This is my end of the story. You won't know what I'm talking about, Ches, but the end of my story is I did go home from that job working IBM exhausted one day, and I couldn't go to sleep. And I was watching TV, and on the TV my cable station used to have like local origination commercials, and one of their commercial slates was, "Do you want to work in television? If so, call this number." And I shit you not, I picked up my phone and I called the freaking number. I didn't think somebody would answer, and I go, "Hello," and they go, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I saw that I saw you had a number about wanting to work in television. I'm kind of interested. I just graduated college. Oh, we have an internship." I go, "Well, I'm out of college." You're like, "Well, would you want to come in?" I go, "Yeah, I'd love to come in and take a look at it." He goes, "When can you get down there?" I go, "I can come right now." So they're like, "All right." So looked in the closet. I got 2 suits, one for the funeral and one for weddings. Took the wedding suit, went there. I guess they were impressed that I showed up in the suit. I probably didn't need to show up in a suit. Everybody was in jeans and t-shirt when I worked there. But I didn't know I was young. But that was my first experience. They hired me to do cable stuff. So that was me, Ches. Let's go back to you. You're definitely more interesting. Oh, and we got a picture now. Good. So all right. So
you didn't have a picture? Hi, Mario. I see Mario.
Good. All right. So you're suburban cable. You get your
Yes.
experience. You got the chance to do some. You had an understanding of what production was. When did you make the leap from local cable to like real sports, like a real?
And it literally took 10 years. And I tell young people all the time, I've done career days at the local middle school and high school. Things don't always happen overnight unless you have a family member in the business. If your father's a police officer, you may have a way of getting into being a police officer. I have no connections in this industry. My father was not a director. My father was a milkman who drove to and delivered milk to bodegas. So they didn't even know I went to New York City for this tech school, which cost $5,000. I had to take student loan out. They didn't even know what I was doing. I was taking the train into New York City. And I met my first instructor was this guy, Greg Spring. And it turns out Greg was this tremendous director / teacher. And he only lasted about 2 or 3 weeks, but he wound up working at Madison Square Garden Network, directing and everything. But the first couple things he said to me, he goes, "Well, if you're going to make $100,000, you're probably going to spend $100,000. So don't be fixated on how much money you're going to make in this industry, because things will always catch up and you'll have to, use that money." Another thing he said was, Emmys are really only for your wife, your family, and your friends. It means nothing to you. And everyone that knows cameramen really don't get the recognition that they deserve when it comes to Emmy awards and all that, because I mean, besides, Mario, myself, you, we've been on probably hundreds of productions that have won Emmys, and we've never gotten them. And
Well,
so it's always the executive
I hate to,
producer.
Mario and I got one. We did both, and Mario and I got one for the Super Bowl for CBS. Fox they never submitted a lot of us for a lot of the work we did during those years. But I think they're better at submitting it. I don't know how the voting goes. I think CBS has a better voting block because they're a major network. A lot of the people that are, if you're in with the Emmy Academy, you get voting and stuff like that. I've never joined because I don't know. Maybe I should to vote. We've definitely lost more than. But you're right. The categories don't
No,
represent
your name
the
has
work.
to be listed on the actual thing, and like this one was like our first one. We won a technical excellence award in 1996 for MLB on Fox, and guess what? It cost me $300. So I bought my own trophy or whatever it cost
Yeah.
at
Well,
the
now they're
time
like 600.
because I
They're six
wanted
hundred
my
bucks now.
I wanted my kid to see it. I wanted it, And then after I had it like in the living room, my wife says, "Can you please put that in a bedroom somewhere in the hallway? I really don't want it in here anymore."
Yeah.
So when
Mine
you
are in the
see people,
basement. Yeah.
when you see people with 15 Emmys and look what I have and this and that, it's great and all that. It all comes down to how much money you make. That's what I say, and you really do enjoy your job.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I was saying last week on the call that the best reward you will get is the compliments from your colleagues. When somebody else in return sees a great shot you did, or texts you afterwards, or says something to you, "Hey man, that was a nice shot," or after the game, "Hey man, you had good stuff tonight." Like those are the best compliments because you will never hear from the other people, and those are the people that really don't matter. It's the people that you work with who do what you do and know how hard it is to really bring it every time and show up. Like your body of work. All right,
here's
let's
the
go
deal.
back.
Here's the deal. Hold on a second. Your reward is to get hired the next day. So when they want you back, that's your reward. And when you make a career out of this, where I could wear a golf shirt and shorts to go to work and make, possibly as much as an executive somewhere, that's a skill, and you should never take it for granted. And your reward is to be hired back. And in the freelance world, it's all about being hired. You whip the camera on the air, you do something multiple times, you show up late, you don't look professional, you're not going to get hired. No matter how great of a cameraman you are, people don't want to work with jerks. They want to work with kind people, people that are going to come there and bust their butts and work hard. You only have to, work hard when you're at your job. And then you can go in your car, drive home, and do whatever you want to do. But go ahead, praise me. You've
All
got
right,
me
no,
for the next 30
I know.
minutes. There's a
I'm gonna,
Yankee game
but
starting.
I want to
And
talk a little bit about the baseball stuff because when you got your start in baseball, let's just say, we're lucky. We're in the New York market, so the New York market will always have, the top. It's harder to get to the top level out of New York, but you also have we had the privilege of having some of the best directors, and still the guys that we have directing our games are great, but there's no replacing the legend that was
Bill Webb.
Bill Webb. Now,
Every generation in our industry has someone that trained them, taught them, made them better at what they do. Now, you've heard of, I worked at ABC and all they could talk about was Roone Arledge. Roone Arledge would listen to the camera. He was the executive producer of sports. He eventually became the executive producer and president of the news division. And he would listen to the cameraman and say, "How do we make this golf event better?" Well, if you put this here and you build this here and you paint it, and by the next morning, things were done. They always told me how much they loved. This is a guy that had really nothing to do with the cameraman. He wasn't the producer. He wasn't the director. And they loved him. Now, you have a lot of people that can help you out in your career, and it's in every business. I have basically 3 directors. Obviously, Bill Webb, who you're talking about, a gentleman named Bobby Lewis, who worked for MSG, and this guy, Joe Michaels, who directed for NBC, the Today Show. These 3 guys guided my career and were just amazing to me, telling me what I was doing wrong, make you better. And we all know Bill Webb was a drill sergeant, but let me tell you something, he would reward you. And these are pictures of him with Pete Macheska, the current producer, senior producer, and he's retiring, from what I heard. I believe, I don't even know if he's doing the postseason. This is a crew, bunch of tape, everybody. I mean, you can see how many people it takes to put a production together. and this isn't even these really aren't any producers. This is all technicians, starting with your TD. We travel all over the place in the postseason. So we're lucky. In 1995, they started a baseball network between NBC and ABC. I didn't want to travel. I didn't accept it. And then 1996, Fox got a contract doing baseball. And I still didn't want to travel during the weeks and stuff, but I covered because the Olympics were going on in Atlanta. A bunch of guys went to the Olympics, and I covered that. But starting out, it was amazing. And you have defining moments in your career. You have shots that I remember that no one else really knows. But if I brought it to your attention, you go, "Oh yeah, that's right, that was your shot," or "Oh yeah, that you did this, you did that." And I'm proud of those moments. I'm proud of some of the jobs I've done. Like I was telling you earlier, 1991, we went to Cuba while it was still under Fidel Castro's reign, and um, that was the scariest thing, going to a communist country and we weren't wanted there. And but they had agreements with the U.S. government and the Cuban government they wanted the publicity. They wanted us to showcase Cuba. And I was there for 19 days, and I got sick on day 3, drinking a Diet Coke with ice, and the ice water got to me, and bang, that was 19 days from hell. But I stood literally 15, 20 feet from Fidel Castro, and they told me, if you walk anywhere near and someone puts their arm out or someone does something, you back up, because these guys will kill to defend their leader. But starting out, Suburban Cablevision, and I became a director there. I directed for 3 years. I met my wife there. She was working in television at the time. And I left Suburban, did some broadcast corporate work, and moved on, and finally got a job doing camera, and that's where I stand.
Now with Fox, like I was going to go through a little bit about Fox. 1996, they get the contract for the World Series. 1997, they get the All-Star Game. Remember the catcher cam? We did a lot of games with that one. Then you have the exclusive rights in 2000. 2001, Fox begins the coverage with the MLB postseason. HD era 2002, full HD postseason. Cable cam 2010. McCarver's retirement. You've been through all of these experiences with all these things. 2018, MLB finalized going to 20. Are you going to try to see it through to 2028, my friend?
I don't know. We're going to see. I want to get through 2025. I've already lowered my schedule. I'm not doing the first round traveling. If the Yankees win tonight, I've already got asked to do like 4 days. I'm doing the Fox football game this Sunday for Brian Lilly. I don't think they're going to move me off the game, but they want to set up at Yankee Stadium. So I am one of 2 department heads for camera, and Fox sets up cameramen that they can rely on to basically take the lead on setting up and making sure personnel's in the right position. And this way, management, tech managers, directors can go through you, so that you don't have a million people going to the video department or asking for audio or asking this. It's one voice. Everyone feeds me their information, things that they need, and then I communicate back to management. So I may be doing the World Series not the World Series, the divisionals at Yankee Stadium if they win tonight. So they start in Toronto on Saturday and Sunday. They travel on Monday, and I would probably, if I do the football game on Sunday, I would probably start setting up. And I believe they're using the Webby truck, the Mets truck, for this first round at Yankee Stadium.
Now with that, so when the World Series, by the time you get it, so you guys will change trucks midway through the divisionals when you step up to the championship series?
It is a masterpiece of coordination between Francisco Contreras, Paco Fox, Brad Cheney, Mike Davies, and Tom. Oh gosh, I just forgot Tom's name, but Sid Drexler and Tommy. Tommy's in charge. And they'll send our World Series truck, which is Yogi, and Yogi is an A and a B unit that does the Yes Network and Yankees, and they'll send it to the Midwest, and they'll send it halfway across the country, because they have to see how the playoffs are going to work their way out. and they may have a better view of, a knowledge of what's going to happen if two, these things sometimes drive across the country. It is a crazy, crazy thing to organize. They have to organize hotels, travel, and make sure the crew gets there. And even one year they advanced us to another city after a game, and we took a private jet, and that was an experience I will never forget. That you're talking to the pilot.
How many guys on a private? Because private
Well,
jets
there
don't
were
seat that
women
many.
there
What is
too.
this?
It
What is
wasn't
this?
guys. There were women. A video operator. It was just I've never been on a private jet before. It was amazing, and they said your company rent is anything on this plane is yours. They said, and we'll just leave it at that. But lead video, couple cameramen, audio. All the department heads basically had to advance so that we can get there and make sure everything was getting organized.
Now you're right. It is logistically different because, like for football, the truck usually follows the show. But you can be out of two different cities because you have to come back and forth when the series, 2 games here, 2 games there, or 2 to 3. You guys are leaving some trucks behind because you might be coming back, right?
Exactly. They It's a crazy time of year. College football is using every possible truck. You have the NFL in every city. You have soccer. Now preseason hockey is starting up, and in October the season I believe starts. I'm not sure exactly when. Halloween starts, I think NBA maybe or something starts, and so every truck is being utilized, and they'll drive them overnight to get to another city, and then we have to be there basically on no sleep and build
So
the
that
show.
means even though every show is similar, every fax is going to be completely different because you're adding equipment, not the same equipment, different truck, different. It's always going to be different with depending on locations so nothing.
The stadiums dictate, a newer stadium that, I don't want to get too technical because I'm actually not a technical person. I'm the guy who flies the plane. I really don't know how to fix the plane, but I've learned a lot about single mode, HDX boxes and things like that. So older stadiums, especially in this photo that you have up here, that was in Iowa, and we did the Field of Dreams. Now everything is single mode fiber, then runs to an HDX box, and then a fiber cable runs from that HDX box. The box has to be powered up through AC, and then it powers up the camera. So some stadiums, they will run those single mode fibers everywhere because they don't trust the house cabling. Like in Milwaukee, if Milwaukee's going to host the next round, if we wind up doing the World Series in Milwaukee, they will make sure all those things are advanced. They'll run cables. They probably have them already installed from the last time we were there. So
now I was looking at that one picture from you in the the Iowa game, right?
yes,
That you could see in that picture you were sweating your ass off in that one. So
it
how
was
bad
so. All
were
right,
those
I'm
conditions?
going to give
for
a little
that?
backstory on that trip. First of all, I was blown away because I love the movie. And so when you go there and you see the house, you see the set, you see everything. The only problem for me was we had like 4 or 5 days to set everything up on rusty scaffoldings. Like if you look in the background, I have a rusty scaffold. They gave us costumes to wear. They wanted us to wear those outfits. And I'm wearing a shirt that's just dripping through the shirt. It was averaging about 95 degrees and 80% humidity every day we were out there. And I had to wear long pants every day because 3 days after this event ended, I was having hip replacement surgery. So think of me climbing up these scaffoldings every day and building cameras and doing things. And I was having hip surgery replacement right
Let,
after that.
so
So,
let's since that we have a shot of you from this view, let's talk a little bit about because you do jump around with cameras, but you're known for high first. Now, you want to go through a little bit of your assignments on high first and what you're
of
looking for?
course. Yeah, so it changes from director to director. It also changes on depending on how many cameras are on the show. I told the guys at Suburban Cable, it is amazing. When I worked at Suburban Cable and I directed, I have cameramen now that were my cameramen 40 years ago at Suburban Cablevision. It blows my mind. Charlie Beatty, Joe Cole, or John Sevchinski, Denise Baelish. I can name Jim Kopchak, said that he was there, and Seth
Seth Weibel, yeah,
Sweeble, Sweeble, not Swible, Sweeble was a high school kid. And there's a photo of him standing out there as his mother would drop him off at the Suburban Cablevision games. And I didn't know him. This was far after I had already left. So anyway, we still are working with these people that are just so talented at what they do, and they're amazing people too. You know, you want to work with people that are cool and they work hard and they'll set up. So I lost track of where we were going. Oh, well, to do the camera. So I used to tell the guys when they were starting to do our professional games, I said, think about what you were doing at Suburban. The high home cameraman, which follows the ball once it's hit, at Suburban Cablevision, we only had 3 cameras. He would also be the high first cameraman, the low first cameraman, and the high home cameraman all in once. And then vice versa on the left side, center field with Shag and this and that. So I told these guys, it's going to become so much more simpler for you when you come to this level because the equipment's 100% better and your responsibilities are a lot less. You don't have the responsibility. So you've been trained at a different level, an amazing training facility that you can walk right in. I could hire any of you in a second and not even second guess putting you on a camera for the New York Yankees versus the New York Mets in a big game that's going to air nationally.
Well,
Because they're so talented for that. And then, and in that position, high first, from what I did it for Bill Webb, it had so many different responsibilities than it does with Matt Gangle. Matt Gangle is the coordinating director for Fox Sports right now. And he came to me, he goes, I'm going to change up what you normally do for high first. And I hope that you'll enjoy it and you won't be frustrated and this and that. I'm not really as much as a replay cameraman as I used to be with Bill Webb. Bill Webb, I literally was the first replay. He would, the A and B machines, A would record program or no, camera 2 or whatever. And then the B machine, it was all done by one operator at the time, Jeff Rubin. And then he goes, I knew you would have it, so I would air that machine first. And now he's looking for the super slow-mo camera, and they have to queue it up in certain spots. So I was very fortunate to get like 1 million replays back in the day. Now I'm more of a reaction camera. I'm listening to the director, listening to the announcers, react in the dugout, and not a plug, but if you see this book right here, and it's in reverse, isn't it? Right?
No, it's okay.
Oh, it
if
is.
If these walls could talk, New York Yankees. Yeah.
Yes. So this, I just one of my proudest moments. I'm jumping all over the place, but Jim Cott put me in his book, and this is a book of Jim Cott, and I got a call or a text from someone, and they go, "You're not going to believe this. I just read this book by Jim Cott, and your name is in it." So just real quick, he mentions everything about the book, but he goes, the cameramen are another important part of that process. They don't get enough credit because tracking a hit baseball is a difficult thing. You have no idea where it's going. It's moving very fast, and it's pretty darn small. However, these guys and gals keep that 3-inch diameter sphere in focus as it flies around the ballpark, and the real good ones notice things through their lenses that tell the story of the game. Maybe it's a pitching change, it's grip on the mound, or when MSG first base cameraman Dave Chesney saw Rod Carew in the Angels dugout telling the Anaheim hitters that he'd figure out Andy Pettit was tipping his pitches. They all deserve a lot of credit and this and that. So when I get back to what I was saying earlier, I never said I'm the best cameraman. I'm not even close to some of the top skilled guys that can do things. Well, we have a Keith DeSantis who does baseball, and he's probably the best at at what he does in real tight super slow. I'm probably a couple feet wider than him, because my focus, I'd probably be out of focus. What I feel I strive and I add to the and this is what Matt Gangle has expressed to us: add something that you are good at. And I don't know if Mario's still on here. Mario, open up your mic for a second, or open up Mario's mic.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Anyway,
Yeah, and frame up Mario 16:9, please.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Anyway, the
You
point
see
of
me
the
lighting?
matter is
And your
what
your
Mario
lighting's
explained to
terrible.
me.
I know my
Mario
lighting is horrible.
All right, keep your mic.
Give me one of those things.
I'm giving you praise now.
Oh, okay,
so.
go ahead. Yeah, I'll take it.
They'll put a flashlight on your face.
I'm getting one now. My lighting director's up here trying to get it on.
Good directors will notice and utilize a camera. Like I always think of Top Gun. Follow your wingman. Yeah, you're my wingman. You're my wingman. Don't divert off to doing other things that other people. Their responsibility is to do something. So in Mara's case, if he does a reverse super high, super slow mo on a football game, his job is to maybe get the quarterback to wait, the quarterback to do something, or the running back and cringes in his face. And that may be his responsibility, just to get those shots that can highlight an event. So in baseball, we were doing the ALCS, and big battle between the Yankees and Boston.
What
And
year? What year? What year was that one?
oh shoot, it could have been somewhere around 2002 or something like that. It's somewhere around there. It's a famous thing. It's on YouTube. Anyway, Jorge Posada is Pedro Martinez. Jorge Posada, Pedro's pointing at his head like he was going to throw at Jorge, and Jorge was out there screaming this and that. So anyway, turns out there was a fight, and Pedro's sitting on the bench. And this was one of my moments that everyone has these moments in television that I found Pedro. Nobody told me to get Pedro, but I knew the storyline. And I went to Pedro. Now, Bill Webb, who was directing, would normally have me picking off players on the field and this, that. And he just said quietly to me, he goes, hang with him, Ches. And he never said anything to me during this whole scuffle. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Don Zimmer comes running out. Pedro comes walking out. Oh, here's the highlight or whatever. And next thing you know, I was basically, you see this, throw down in other angles, but I had it tight. And I was like the only camera that had it, because I just knew they wanted Pedro. And that's where Don Zimmer went crazy. And he threw him to the ground. And that shot aired probably, millions of times at the time.
He didn't really throw him to the ground though. He kind of like
kind
olayed
of
him.
fell. Yeah.
He kind of olayed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an
And-
olay, like
and he was embarrassed by it. He was completely embarrassed. You see, you got Manny Ramirez back in the day. So here it comes right here. Pedro's sitting on the bench, and here he comes,
This is it.
and boom. I was doing high third on that one. And but I give Bill a lot of credit, because he told me to just wait with him, stick with him. Bill never cut to him to see, because all the chaos was going on. But that's one of the moments that happened on that. You have memorable shots in Super Bowls and this and that, in World Series, and we've done like 28 World Series now, which is amazing for someone who grew up playing Little League and All Stars and wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, to get to be at all these events. Holy smokes, it's a dream come true. So, Hardy, next question.
I just want to. I wanted to see this again. So you were just thinking about it and just said, "I'm gonna."
Yeah, my thing that I pride myself on is I actually do a lot of homework, and people just. I read the lineup sheets. Sometimes I read the storylines. Back when I was younger, because I always wanted to beat Bill Webb to his shots. And then he would go, Ches, why are you shooting that guy? Well, if you read the liner notes, Bill, this guy's going for this. He's got a hitting, I was always shooting the visiting team. I go, he's got a 9-game hitting streak right now, or this and that. And you have to find out where these guys are. In football, there's 53 players on the roster, I believe, and plus who knows how many other guys are suited up or not playing. And you have to know where these guys are. The quarterbacks always sit with the quarterback coach. Find out early where these guys are. With me, usually the first game, it's hard to find the visiting players. You know where the home guys are, because they're the same way every game. And if you're shooting the home bench, it's the visitors. Always a challenge. I always had to shoot the visitors teams. And when they come in, you don't know where they sit. You don't know where they are. You got to keep an eye on one eye. Did they go down to the bathroom? Did they come back up? So the director's like, I need a shot of Pedro. I need a shot of Pedro. And you go, no, he just went down. And that tells him he went down to he went down out of the dugout.
Now,
So you
wait.
always have to be mindful of what's going on and be able to get the director the shots that they need instantly. And that's what makes a good cameraman. It's not being the superstar. The superstars will all get their praise, and they'll have the most amazing shots. Like one of the greatest shots Keith DeSantis, who we were talking about, was in the Super Bowl, and he should have won an Emmy for it. And I don't understand why not. Whereas was it David Tyree on the head, the football Giants, and the whole thing in the Super Bowl, and he had it all in focus, and it was amazing. It was like a tremendous shot. That's his, his number one shot of his career that you probably won't even top.
Yeah. Well, in baseball, like I was thinking about do you remember what the World Series with the Schilling, the bloody sock?
The bloody
Yeah.
sock. That's another one. I forget who noticed it, but one
Was
of
it
our low
Al
camera.
Issue?
Yeah, it was probably Al at the
It was
time, and then we all questioned whether it was real or not.
Yeah.
Mario had a great shot. Mario had this guy Kenny Rogers was on the mound. Mario was doing well home, and all of a sudden Mario noticed that he had pine tar on his hand. And we're like, how did we not notice that? Well, Mario's job is to shoot the pitcher every time, and he tracks the ball in and this, and all of a sudden at one point, you noticed it. And he had it. I don't know, you can explain it a little better than I
I
will.
mean, he had a lot of movement on his pitches, and like I had a shot of it. It was a lucky shot. Listen, I'm on the guy the whole time. He raised his hand. They had a freeze of the pine tar all over. It was actually his throwing hand, left hand.
Yeah.
What's funny is like later on when they made the World Series and they were playing. Well, it was the World Series that happened. We were in St. Louis, and I met him at a bar. We had a rain out one night, and wrestling was in town, and I met like Marty Miller and all those guys.
Yeah.
And Kenny Rogers and Pudge Rodriguez were hanging out. And Marty told him I was the one that shot his hand. And he was pissed at me. Nothing happened because I told him I'm not like that little guy you threw around in excuse me, in Texas. I'm not like that guy. I'll give you a battle back. But whatever. I'm joking.
So now I'm going to hit myself with a couple with Bill Webb, and one was I'm known with having to go to the bathroom. I want to make sure I go to the bathroom because when you do postseason, you literally can't leave your camera unless it's an emergency. There's 55, 60,000 people in there. If we go to Wrigley, I don't know. Did who won that game tonight? I don't even. Yeah, they went up. Cleveland was losing, so I'm assuming the Cubs are in the next round. It's the word. It's remember we were there, Mario. There's no bathrooms. There's
No.
nowhere you can get around. So you have to make sure you prepare yourself. And I was in Anaheim in like 2002. I go to the bathroom. I time it out 30 minutes before the game. Who cares? I'm going to do this. You stop drinking. You don't go to the bathroom. You get your bathroom. I get on and my headset was bleeding. My ears started bleeding from the director saying, "Where the hell are you? Where did you go?" I said, "I went to the bathroom." He goes, "How the hell can you go to the bathroom now?" I go, "It's 30 minutes before the game." He goes, "You're the only camera that has a shot of the bullpen." This is before Robos and this thing. He goes, "And Hollywood or LA needed a shot of that starting pitcher warming up, and you weren't there." I got destroyed for that. And then from that point on in my career, it's been 28 years since that moment. It's go take your Chesney now,
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Just,
It's
the
still
Yankee director.
all right. Time for the Chaz. Everybody take a Chaz.
Yeah.
Everyone
take
can
a
take
chess.
this. So now I'm getting text messages from Milwaukee, Colorado, wherever the Yankees are, and they're like, "Please explain to me why the director just said go take your cheses now." But some people really appreciate it. We have a lot of female camera operators and people, and they come up to me and they go, "Thank you. Thank you for taking the heat. Thank you for standing up and arguing that we have to go to the bathroom."
Listen,
And they're
I'm in
afraid.
the baby bladder club too, man. I get it, dude. A half hour before the game, and you're lucky if the game is at a playoff time. You're not going to see a 3-hour game, so it's going to be at least 3.5. So that's at least 3.5 plus the half hour. That's 4 hours. You can't have a drink. You can't even if it's
I would have arguments with Bill Webb. That's why I love him to death. And since he's passed away, I'd have therapy sessions with another cameraman, Al Friedman. We would drive home together and we would just talk. And I said, "Bill, you beat us down. Why do you do this?" He goes, "Because I have other people that don't know what they're doing, and I can't beat them down because they're horrible, and I have to beat up on you too. And if you don't have thick skin, then get out of this business. And too bad, you're gonna get it. I'm gonna give it to you, and this and that." So that was one incident with the bathroom, and then
So in other words, he told you tough shit.
yeah,
Deal with it.
he was
What he told-
tough. And then
Yeah.
then he would give you some praise where I don't know if you remember this, Mario, if this is before your time, but you may have been. You're in
Look at
that
a young,
picture
look at a
there.
young, look at a young Mario. A young,
Yeah, it shows you how long ago these were. That they gave a USA Today article about with Bushner. What's
Oh, I
his
remember
first
that.
name? What's his first name?
Dave
Dave
Bushner. Yeah.
Bushner. And they said he was going to be a super slow-mo cameraman, superstar cameraman. And at that time, Dennis Shannon and I, who just recently retired, were the shag cameras for Bill. And he looked at us and he was, "What's wrong with you two?" And I said,
Yeah.
"I don't even want this is 1998. We're only like 3 years into this thing." And he goes, I go, "How dare you bring an outsider?" And Dave was like, Dennis was in his wedding party and said, "How dare you write an article about a superstar coming in? And what do you think we do?" And then he knew we were upset with him. He knew that we would possibly leave him. And then he came and said, "I direct 8 cameras. We have like 18 cameras on the show or whatever we have. Now we have like 35 or whatever." He goes, "I literally look at those 8 cameras." So he'll look at a monitor wall and see 1 through 8. And that's how he directs it. He goes, "The other stuff is all bullshit. It's all fluff. It's all bullshit." He goes, "If I can't direct you guys are my heart and soul. You guys are my guts. You guys, he moved me onto another camera." He goes, "You're faster than the other guy. And I need you on this camera. Now, do you want to go tell the guy that I'm replacing him with you, or do you want me to do it?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I am not saying that, because I'm not as good as some of these guys." But he was very blunt about that. He's like a drill sergeant, and I loved him. And then Bobby Lewis, the other director for MSG Network, was just amazing. I came in, long story how I got in there. I did the game handheld, and he goes, "I need to talk to you after the game." I go, "Oh, my one chance is doing the Nick game. I blew it. What about it?" And he comes up to me and he goes, "Where the hell have you been?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Where have you been?" I go, "I've been directing at Suburban Cable the last 3 years and this and that." He goes, "Well, we now have an opening on this handheld under the Knicks basket, and I want to give it to you right now for the rest of the season." And when you hear that and you go home to your wife and you're a freelancer and, she's a stay-at-home mom and it's the only income we have, it was just tears, shaking. It was just amazing. And he was a low-key director that was just, you know, you want to have fun on the shows and you want to work with guys that'll teach you and learn, and you have a lot of respect. You don't want screamers, people that are just constantly screaming at people and berating them and putting down now, I'm not saying Bill Webb didn't do that, but
they were different.
they've
Webby,
changed.
I worked for both those. I worked for all three of those guys that you talked about, and Webby was definitely different. Definitely different, but he was definitely more demanding about certain things. His delivery was different, but he always was, but because he knew what you were capable of. That's definitely him. And Bobby Lewis he was a very nurturing guy. He had a different approach, soft-spoken guy, but he knew his game. He knew hockey, he knew basketball, and he was really, really good. And then he knew where to put people to do what he needed them to do. So he was really good at that. And Joe Michaels, I've never, ever worked with a director that saw everything as well as he did. Other cameras, because even when you had a shot, he'd be directing the regular show and you'd be on the plaza cam shooting
Yep.
something else, and he would see what you were shooting and say, "Oh, nice shot," or he would reference stuff. It was crazy to me how he would see that. And then he was in, like, talk about being comfortable in your skin or comfortable in the chair. Like, breaking news situations like that happen in that show in the middle of any kind of segment like that.
Yeah,
We've seen hard left turns, and he was amazing in the chair with that.
do you have me? Because I'm frozen on this screen. I
Yeah, I
noticed.
hear you, but you're frozen again. So I
Well,
don't know
this is
what.
on my phone. I don't know what's going on.
I think
Anyway,
you got terrible Wi-Fi. Well,
I'm literally
let me open up let me open it up for Q&A. Let me see if anybody
I'm right
is.
next to the router. I'm literally 1 foot from the router here.
Well, as long as we got your audio, let's see if anybody has a question for the great Dave Chesney.
Oh, the great Dave.
Good, Chesney. You're good. You are one of the great. You are really great. You know what, Jazz? Because you're a great guy. You know what? You're. It's not just about your camera. You're great. You're not the kind of guy that ever felt threatened by other people. You have always, like, the same people that have been nice to you. Past it. You have, what do they say? Pay it forward. You have absolutely always paid it forward. I've never seen you mistreat somebody who was eager to learn something, or, like, I've always seen you be nothing but a professional towards people. And like, I don't know, you definitely, yeah, I know
I've always
what
said
picture is
if
it? No,
you're
now I can see you and I got to look at the freaking Philly Fanatic.
That's Rob though. Rob's in the
Yeah.
picture.
Oh
That's
Yeah,
the
we
creator
just
of
lost.
that's the guy who passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob was a tremendous cameraman out of LA, and he's a New Yorker, and he was a big Pittsburgh Steelers, and I believe he was a Mets fan. But anyway, he just passed away, and it was so sad. And he was young, 59 years old. But no, thank you, Hardy. I've always told people, and people are paranoid about their careers. They're paranoid about letting someone else get a job. I've always said I will train anybody. If we do baseball, there's batting practice. Get up on my camera. I'll show you what to do. Put a headset on, and just make sure the mic is off, and then turn it on if someone asks you a question because you may be shooting something. I trained Danny Ryan right now, and Danny Ryan is now a formidable cameraman in our industry in New York, and he's going to work for the rest of his career. And he went up there on his own numerous times, and I said, Danny, just shoot and track things tight, and the directors will teach you each individual camera. And now we have to take him to the next level and get him on a shared camera. He does low cameras and things like that. But that's just to show you that I told the union I would train people. I train utilities if they want to be cameramen. Some people just want to go back to their car and hang out, or they want to go out to dinner. They don't want to advance their career to another level. Or I'm seeing more and more utilities now become video operators. And it's good because they're learning fiber and they're learning different things and taking courses. So it's an aging business. We're all getting close to our 60s. I'm turning 61. We have a lot of guys 65 or older, and we need young people. And Hardy's starting this, and I give you a lot of credit because I know how much time it takes, Hardy. But it's even the director came up to us last year, the Mets director and the producer, and they said, "Where's the next generation?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know where they get the training." I said, "The union's going to have to let them get a pass, get them in here, and train them because
Yeah, I mean,
you're
we
going to
got
be
to
hurting."
yeah, we got to figure out a better way to because like you and I we're in 3 different unions. None of them have apprenticeship programs or any kind of pathway programs. I've established the first like relationship with the university, which I think is great that we have a course with an actual union associated with it on the books at a university, which is great. I mean, but that's only 20 kids in my class that I'm reaching in, that's why I did the workshops and stuff like that. I'm hoping I can do more of those, but logistically they're not easy to do. But I always said like learning the equipment and learning how to do it is one thing, but the other intangible thing to learn is what we're talking about, what it's like to do this. And we got a question here. Let me ask Mike to unmute here. Did you unmute there? Let's see. Yeah. Hey,
You
Mike,
got me?
what's your question? Yeah, Mike, what's going on, bud?
Hey, yeah, so I was lucky enough, I got referred to a job and I've been in 100 for a couple years now, but I guess what's like a good way to go about kind of putting yourself out there without I don't know, like what's the best way to do that without being so like, hey, like this is me, this is what I do, but like not be so like needy about it, or like what's the best approach when it comes to kind of making that next step and building those relationships?
I know it's tough. I would say talk to the leadership of the union would be a good thing first. We have an executive board. Introducing yourself to them and saying, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to learn. This is where I want my career to go. And just be very open about it. We've had some people in the past be very pushy about, hey, I did this. Why am I not being hired? And that's the last thing a director wants to hear. Directors hire us. Directors are the boss. And no matter what, it's a fact of life that the directors really,
they're trying to change that. Some people are trying to change that, and that's a bad thing for us, I think. The
Yeah.
director should have total control over that, right? I mean, we all agree with that?
I
the
do.
director.
I definitely do. I feel
That's
the problem.
changing, though. I'm just telling you, that's changing. And I'm not saying it's changed, but there are people in positions,
Well, we can
not
talk about
not
it. I mean,
directors.
Well,
I'm not
Mike,
going to
what
get into
we deal with
specifics, but
crewers like New York market.
Yeah.
We'll talk New York market. We deal with Fox hires direct, so it's different. Fox and the networks hire direct for most part, but PPI is a national accruer, and they have a contract with our market, and they crew a bunch of different sports, and they have some people that live here and some people that don't, and they don't really know everybody's skill set and particular they don't know each craft as well as people who have built relationships with, like the people that you've built relationships with at Fox and those major networks and
Really?
CBS,
Yeah.
years. Those people have careers doing those jobs, so it's
Mhm.
hard, you know what I mean? But for Mike, for you, I would say, like, yeah, the union is definitely a resource for you. We're pushing them to do more training, and the more value we can give to our membership and what you can do, the more opportunity we can find you can do. But one of the things that Ches mentioned earlier about a lot of these utilities are becoming video guys and learning about fiber, stuff like that. That is absolutely where I think the next big growth area is, because if they may want to remote some things and bring some things in and do everything, but there's always going to have to be somebody that connects it. There's always got to be somebody to make sure that it's working. It's got to do it all. Just like, just like when you have solar panels on your roof, right? You think they're going to be, nobody has to maintain them. Yeah, every once in a while you got to make sure that they're still working and being efficient. So all that connectivity, I think, is definitely some potential there. So
And
Let
Mike,
me
well,
ask
also,
Mike.
let me,
Wait,
go-
Mike, what? I don't know. We don't know each other, do we? Have we met?
No, we haven't.
Where are you from, Mike?
Well, I'm originally from Connecticut, but I'm in Rockland County now. Work
Okay.
in New York City. Yeah.
And you're a camera guy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in that sense, contacting PPI is
Yeah,
one way,
what I've done
and
the most
saying,
with
hey, this is what I've done in the past, but how can I, work my way to where I can maybe get a pass with the tech manager, say at the Mets, and then you can always use my name, and I can, say, hey, can I shadow Ches on a setup day just to see what it
Yeah.
takes with one of the setup days. I've done it before for other people, and if you're a union member, which you say you are, right?
Yeah.
You can do that anytime. As long as the tech manager or PPI can get you a pass into the stadium. If I'm on the show, you come right to me and you can shadow me the whole game and shoot BP and this and that. And then I'll let the director know, say, hey, this guy's maybe a little green, but you stick him on camera 4 in center field and give him a shot. They need younger people. They need the people. So I don't think they would hold back at all. Now, what Hardy was saying, we're having more and more Remy's. You guys know where Remy's are. There's really no director or production on site. Even the TDs are nervous now. The technical directors, our main TD is nervous because Remy's are really for an audio guy that mixes, an A2, and the cameraman, and basically a video operator. And that's it. They're gutted shows that are like 4 camera shows with a couple slam cams. And as cameramen, all right, we're very fortunate to be able to work it, but this industry is going that way. So it's very difficult, to argue with them about technology. It's changing weekly, and it's affecting all the workforce, everyone. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll watch local news and see that robotic camera with the teleprompter sitting there. The weather, person is there and there's no camera operator behind them. It's very frustrating. It's been going on for years. And
Yeah.
but like I said, any union member that ever wants to do camera, if you talk to the union or talk to PPI, because they're our bosses. PPI is our boss. SNY is not our boss. When it comes to the Yankees, the Yes Network is our boss. They use PPI's app. What's it called? The Pro Cruise app.
yeah.
And CBS uses Pro Cruise's app too. They're
Yeah,
not
for
the
the-
hirers though, PPI. They're just paying a service to use their payroll app. So
we got a question from Nick. Nick, go ahead, ask your question.
Hey, thanks very much, guys, for doing this. I really appreciate it. And kind of not to harp on some of the stuff we're saying, but I'm curious, how has it got to this point kind of where it's like it's harder to see the young guys? And like it's awesome hearing the stories. You guys have been doing this for 30 years, like kind of you said, you went through the HD thing into the 4K stuff now. Where is everybody at? Like in your opinion, what made it hard that you kind of is it true like there's guys kind of closer to your age and then a gap from 25 to people in their 50s? Like, I'm just curious how we think that happened. And I want to still do that thing of like, how do we get more people into this to where you guys are saying like we're missing people?
I think social media, smartphones made it accessible for anybody to do this stuff. Like having Final Cut Pro on your computer. I don't even know what they call it now. Anybody without any kind of training just learns how to do this stuff, and everyone can do it now. You could do it on your computer. I could do an iMovie in 10 minutes, with AI. I put a bunch of videos together and I've got myself a movie. So I don't know if they respect our industry as much as when I was first starting out. Oh my gosh, the Monday Night Football guys. I was in awe of these guys.
They
What
don't
a
even
life.
they
What-
don't I don't think people are even aware that this is a vocation.
It's
There are many
true.
people that I'm serious. I don't think they really understand that there's somebody actually doing that. You know how many people I've told, like, yeah, this is what I do. I had never really thought about that. I didn't realize that you guys did things like that. Yeah, well, yeah. How do you think it happens? Like, I
We
mean,
got
hopefully not in the future. It's gonna be with a machine, but
Well, we are nervous
I
about
don't think
that
people
because
think about it. I don't think they
football
think about
for Mario, football for years has the tracking devices inside the shoulder pads now. They've had them for years. They want the robotic cameras, or at least the game cameras, to be possibly robotic. And who knows with AI, that stuff could be
it. Yeah.
next year. I'm not saying all the cameras. I'm saying
No, I
like
know.
the main top cameras, instead of just using 1, 2, and 3 in football. Now they're going to be at least 5 or 6, like they do in the Super Bowl. Goal line cameras, this and that, and
Mhm.
all that stuff will be fixed in a stadium. Like now, stadiums like MetLife have a cable cam that's there all season long. Basically, they don't even tear it down. They leave a cable cam up there, and the Jets, I think, use it.
we got one more question. Adam, we
No,
got
no, no. I want to answer his question because that's very important. There's training, whereas Mario, myself, and other people. It's so funny. In New Jersey, we all worked at Suburban Cablevision at the exact same time on Long Island. Are a bunch of other people that were working in Long Island cable, and they're all in our industry now. And we mirrored ourselves. It's amazing. Like Vinny Scafidi and these guys. I talked to the Long Island guys. They were doing the same thing that we were doing. Those productions are gone now. So either going to a college or doing, I don't know the answer to doing this, or paying to take a Chiron class or an EVS class and learning it that way, or
I
working at
think
a
another,
lower
another
level.
thing, another thing that's really important that people have to remember, and I can tell you from my experience, I was there very young. Ches met me. I was really young. I was 20 years old when I met you, right?
Yeah, you were a
Yeah,
runner at
19, 20
NSG.
years old, right? And you meet people and you start talking to them, and you make friends. You have to, you have to be likable.
I
It
all right.
know.
helps to be likable.
We
You know
got
what I mean? No,
Adam.
but you can tell people, like, hey, listen, I'm trying to break into this, and if you ever get sick last minute and you need someone to help you out and cover you, I'll do that for you. That's the kind of stuff. The people that you work with are going to help you more than you think. You agree with that, Ches?
Yes, without
Yeah,
a doubt.
yeah,
You don't want to work with, like I had said earlier, you could be a superstar cameraman, but and we know a couple in this industry that we don't even want to be around, but
yeah,
they're tremendous cameramen. But you don't, but that cameraman may be lazy, and he's going to, and
yeah.
I've watched the tech manager fire and release cameramen off shows, our Fox shows and national shows, because when it comes to striking, it's all hands on deck. And as department heads, Mario and myself, you better be working after that show. We're tired. We're all tired. We all want to go home to our families. And if you have someone that goes off to the distance and maybe goes back to their rental car, or they take their time, everyone notices it. Everyone notices. Everyone notices when someone's on their cell phone and they're talking while other guys are lifting cables, packing a truck, and doing things. And that stuff gets back to the tech manager, and he'll go right to the director and say, you know what? I know you love this guy, but he is lazy, and I don't want to work with him anymore, and this and that. And you'd be surprised that directors don't want to deal with that either. I
Yeah.
would never want Matt Gangle to have to come to me, who's the Fox national director, and now he's doing football, and he's their number one, whatever, to say to me, hey, I got word that the tech manager is not too happy with you and I may have to release you. And that's an embarrassing thing to find out in our industry. You got a scarlet letter on your chest now, you
Yeah.
know.
All right, let's
But-
let's get Adam. Adam's been waiting a while. For
Sorry,
his
Nick, I
question.
tried.
Adam was at well, Nick got it. I think Nick got a decent answer. Let's see
Yeah.
what Adam's question is.
The same Mike and Nick and Dave. That was all good questions. Like the questions were great. Excuse me. And Dave, just so you know, like from experience, from me, I was working as a utility jumped into a camera position doing baseball. I did one for the experience I had. I had to do it was a camera one. This was quite a while ago. And it was, first time doing green screen behind the plate. From your experience working in, you said you did cable television, then you jumped into the major stuff. Was that like kind of was that a kind of
Intimidating?
experience that you came across, like something that like went from, there's like normal shooting without a green screen in front of you, and then you went to doing
Yeah.
like baseball kind
Well,
of thing?
what happens is when you shoot outside compared to studios also, it's funny because I was just telling Mario, I met these two amazing golf guys, and we shoot outside and we shoot in arenas, and the depth of field, the focusing, the video guys, you really need good videos, and you need to set up your camera the right way. Every camera is set up the way you like it. I used to coach softball to these girls and baseball, and Derek Jeter would stand there and have his bat waving up in the air, and then I was teaching him to do it more tighter. And I said, you have to be comfortable in whatever you're doing. So when you're building your camera, you have to be comfortable. It has to be balanced, it has to be bubbled, and you don't want to just let go of your camera and then all of a sudden it's tilting forward. I'm very meticulous about the way I build my camera, and everyone should build their own camera like it's a parachute. That being said, when it comes to shooting outside or shooting something different than like a green screen or somewhere in the studio, you're dealing with all the elements. And if you're shooting in the daytime and the video operator has to put a lot of ND in your camera or so he can ride the video better, it makes it more difficult for you. You lose your depth of field. And now, because of replay review, the skill level that they expect from us is through the roof. They want you tracking balls. They want you always in focus, and your reputation's on the line if you can't maintain the skill level that they're asking for. And all of a sudden, that skill level went through the roof when it comes to replay. We decide games now, and we don't get any credit for it. We
Yeah, don't
literally
get me started
decide
on this shit.
outcomes of games, and
Yeah,
it's
I
just
know. This is that's a whole nother episode of Crew Call Live. When we
Yeah,
talk about
that's
the business of sports. There's a lot of money being made in sports, and we feel that as much as everybody like, we want people to get into this business and become uh good at what you do, but we also want you to know the value of what you do and get paid the value of what you do. And it's very hard in this industry. Ches will tell you, 30 years in this business, there's
40.
still a lot of
your,
there's still a
your
lot of
work.
places. Yeah.
Your work can decide a game, the outcome of a game. Your work can decide the outcome of a game.
and think of the
So, and you
gambling
can't tell
aspect
me
of
that
it.
there shouldn't be more of a premium on that job if you can control what's going on in the game. Am I
Well,
wrong? I don't. Maybe I'm
no,
wrong.
but I in the, something
You know what I'm talking about, bro, dude?
somehow the system got broken because the old system back in the day, like Chaz mentioned, the ABC guys who I know. I'm going to get some of these guys on the Crew Call Live soon. The retired guys from Wide World of Sports. Some of those guys are phenomenal cameramen, phenomenal guys, but they also worked at the golden age of sports where they would get prestigious event fees when they did certain things like the Final Four, the Masters golf, or the World Series, or the Super Bowl. Everybody on the crew, because they'll tell you, if you're doing this show, you're the best of the best, and getting paid what the union scale is just, union scale is what you would make on your first day on the job. Is it right that you make that on a bigger event? No. Does it happen? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I can attest to that because I have done 7 or 8 Super Bowls, all for scale. I have never been paid above scale on a Super Bowl because I wasn't a core guy. I was always a fill-in, add-on camera, doing something else. And you don't really have the weight to negotiate that stuff. Like Chaz, you're the lead guy on World Series. You're the chief, so you get a bump. Fox has been awesome. I will say that, to be good about recognizing value and paying for it. They have a lot of people above scale on the big shows.
Yeah, you have to be willing to almost not put your job on the line, but you have to be tough when anybody asks you to take added responsibility. And it's a tough question because I talk to my daughter all the time. She's in accounting and she was doing a job that she should have been paid like $20,000 a year more, and she wasn't. And I said, when is the point where you have to go to your boss and say, hey, what's my value here and why am I doing this? And for myself, they added a lot more responsibility on, and I was getting emails and phone calls when I'm in my hotel room, waking me up, and my call time isn't until noon, and 10:30 in the morning, I'm doing work. And so I had to talk to the bosses about that and say, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to tell you I can't do it anymore unless you figure out a way to either compensate me or don't expect me to answer the phone unless it's an emergency because I'm not on the clock. I'm not staff. So as a freelancer in this, you got to juggle a lot of stuff. If you really want to work on that show, there's a million guys or hundreds of guys who could take my position in a second. And everyone knows that. So we're very fortunate. Like I'm only talking Fox baseball. I'm sure Mary could talk about football. I do all the football games for CBS and Fox that are local in New York. So I don't travel, but I do these games and I'm working with different networks, different directors, different responsibilities. I'm on a different camera every day, different wording. So you have to, as a freelancer, know where you stand and don't be afraid to ask for something if you're being added, and they can always say no, and it's up to you if you feel you're being disrespected. But just understand, as they say in the world, if you don't have fu money, be careful. Be careful what you wish. If you have fu money, and I told the director literally 3 weeks ago, I go, you can't hurt me. He was busting my chops, and I said, you know what? Tell me now, you can't hurt me. He goes, well, what do you mean? And I did this to Bill Webb once. I said, Bill, if you're going to fire me, let me know now because I'm going to get to the other crewers and I'll guarantee I'll be hired in the next 15 minutes. So let me know now if you're not going to travel with me so I can book other work. But this director just 2-3 weeks ago, I said, I'm turning 61. I have no more colleges to pay for. I have no more weddings to pay for. I've been in this business 40 years and I've saved. I said, you could fire me now. I don't even have to. So like, it's a good position. The problem is you're older and you're getting older. And
Oh,
it
great. Now
sucks.
you can,
I'm
now you
breaking
have,
down.
now you have the value. You can do, what do you say? Hedge your bet. Now you can say, you always want to be able to, value and say, listen, I can walk away, but it's hard to be able to do that. Negotiations in this business are tough for value. It is hard. I found for me, on the entertainment side, it was easier for me to do that because I did handheld, I did concerts, I did other stuff that allowed us, that was definitely more physically demanding and definitely more demanding in terms of what they wanted. So that was my in for a lot of stuff like that. But I would say with anybody, it's based on your relationship. You build your relationships. Eventually that relationship is of value to you because when they come to negotiate you, that reputation, all the things we talked about him not being lazy and doing what you got to do, they're going to ask a couple of people about you. And then those are the things that will check the boxes when they want to say yes to you. All right, Ches.
You know what? 1 second, real quick, and you better throw your ego out the window when it comes to things. Now you can be tough and you can be this and that, but the director is your boss, and I learned that through Bill Webb.
Can you
When he
change the
threatened,
picture behind you first? Because it's so hard to take you fucking
This is Leslie.
serious with that. What is that? Well, who is that? What is that? The fuck with the crazy guy from the Yankee? What is that guy again?
that's Leslie.
That's Leslie.
There's my grandchildren right
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
Yeah. Do that. Yeah. I can take you more serious as a
Nah,
grandpa.
I'll just do that. Anyway, real quick. And Bill Webb, told me, he told me not to shoot something. This guy was throwing up in the stands. And then the TD goes, go back and get it. And Bill was out smoking a cigarette. And next thing you know, the guy was throwing up and Bill saw it. And he came back on the PL and he said, Ches, I told you not to shoot that guy. And you did. And from now on, I will replace you in a second if you don't listen to me when I tell you something. And he was dead serious. Now, I have years of experience with this guy in postseason, and I said, well, I didn't tell him to put it on the line, the TD, and we're all going back and forth. And that's when I realized he's my boss. He's not my friend. He's my boss. And that's how it works. They are your bosses. And you could be friendly with them. And guys would always tell jokes with the directors, and then they would mess up during the game. And I said, you can have all the fun in the world with a director before the game and after the game in the bar. You're on the road, you're drinking with them, but you better come ready to work. And that's what their livelihood is on the line. When and we're the minions to that director, and that's why they're the boss. And
You can joke around. You can joke around. Just don't screw up. I mean, right? I mean, that's what
You
it
got to
comes
be
down
ready
to.
to go.
Yeah, you have to be able to hold up your end. You can bullshit around and joke as long as you hold up your end. That's the way I would look at it.
And
Well,
just be prepared.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to edit the next part out because I'm going to go talk to a guy that I love to bust his chops. So whatever we say, this part will get cut out. I'm not even whatever. But for the live people, you're going to enjoy
First
it.
of all, what time
Mike
is it?
Bro
Are the
joined the
Yankees
call.
losing?
Mike
Are the
Bro.
Yankees losing right now? What's the
They're not even
score?
they didn't even start yet. They
Okay.
just started.
I don't even have a clock near me.
Yeah.
And
No.
I'm using my
So
phone.
we are joined by another professional in our business here on the CBS side, and football guy and a golf guy, Mike Bro, who used to be on my CBS. I was on the Fox travel crew for a while, and then I was on the CBS travel crew for a while, and me and Bro spent many years together on the road together. Go ahead, Bro.
Hey, you
Let's hear you.
guys.
What do you think of what I'm doing here, buddy? I'm glad you joined the
I
call.
think it's a good thing, and I'm glad you're doing it. And this is my first time, and I'm enjoying it. And
Well,
I,
go
re-
tell the guys a little bit about you and what you do quickly, because
well,
this is the end of the
I
show.
started off a long time ago, back in the early '90s, and I know Mario. I work with Mario. And hey, Mario, by the way, you're looking good, man. And
Oh, thank you, Mike.
thank you for all you do, man. I
Uh,
wish we had you around when we were negotiating the CBS contract. Anyway, look. So
okay.
I used to do all sports, but now I'm just doing NFL and golf, and that's all I really need. I'm really enjoying it, and it's been great. And I wanted to tell Nick, listen, I tell you, you're in a really good spot right now because a lot of the younger people they don't want this. I mean, I went to my kid and I said, hey, Mike. Mike Jr., right? Hey, you want to get into this business? Nah, Dad, I don't want to do that. And he's making triple the money I'm making right now. And I'm making a lot of money, but he's like triple the money right now. So younger guys, they want that big money. They going after the big jobs. But Nick, you're in a good spot, and I think that capitalize on it while you can. But so anyway, Hardy, I'm enjoying
Thank you.
myself.
What's your
Great.
next gig? Are you done with golf? Or are you doing
Oh man.
football?
Well, no, I got 2026 all planned for golf. That's all ready to go. I'm doing football now. We
Mike,
were
what camera do you do on golf? Do you do a same camera or do you bounce around?
I do a mini, okay, but I'm kind of old now, so I asked Milton. I work for Steve Milton. I asked Milton, listen, man, let me move to the Tracer. You know what I mean? Because Tracers jump fairways. That's beautiful for me. I didn't want to walk 18 holes. You know what I
And
mean?
a tracer is that tracer camera they'll set
Yeah.
up like a handheld. Then you
Top golf
when
type
they
stuff.
move by, you go to the next holes. Is that how it works?
Yeah, we just jump fairways. That's it. And we might uh, dismantle some things and go on a green for a little bit, at the beginning of the show. But for the most part, it's Tracer, and it's a good thing. It's perfect for me and my age. So I'm on golf, and then I do NFL. One thing between NFL and golf, NFL's a grind, man. It is a grind. I mean, they really kick. Everything has to be done in a certain period of time. But golf is more laid back. It's a lot of fun, and you can take your time. So, but golf and NFL is those are the two things that I do right now. Met Hardy. Hardy, can I go into where I met you?
Where did I don't even remember where we first met. This must be.
Listen, listen.
Listen.
No, I
We've
gotta
had
tell
many
you,
of a crazy night
listen.
together, but
I first met Hardy. I was doing the U.S. Open on court 11, and we
oh,
were doing the net cameras. And we had a funny director, and Tori Livia, Tori, right? He
yeah,
was
Tori is now like a steady cam. He's
exactly.
done Super Bowl. He's an
The
amazing operator.
director.
He
Well, he
was
directs now, but he was our TD, and
yeah, he was a TD. And
Oh, really?
I remember this. I remember we were cracking up the whole time on the net cam, and people were looking at us like, "What the hell are these guys laughing at?" I mean,
Yeah.
we were having a great time,
yeah,
And, that's where I
those
first
years.
met Hardy.
Well,
Those
Mike,
years at CBS were a lot of fun, man. I mean, honestly, they were a lot of work, man. Tennis, and first of all, in those first years at CBS doing those net cams, you are in the heat of August sun, and those days are long in that. And then you just can't get off. Like you could be dying in that
Funny
chair,
though.
and you
The
can't
way
get off
funny.
camera till a play stops. Even when you have a relief wait, that was the worst part about tennis. You'd be dying in your chair on camera, and then your relief guy tap you on the shoulder, and you're like, God, when is this point going to end? Because then you can jump off real quick, and these points would go on forever.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
Hey, Mike, did
it's our
you
first
obviously,
audience.
Mike, if you're a golf guy, you obviously knew Danny Siegel
Oh, I have.
and
Yeah, very good.
and Al
Yeah.
Mountford. So think of a court where Mario and I, for 10 years, I did it for 10 years for CBS or whatever. We had a court with Al Mountford, Danny Siegel, Chevy, right, was on our court, and then Kurt Hepburn and all
Jim
these other guys,
Kimmins.
Will Baker and
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmins. And when you were talking about laughing, we even got all the directors with the stories. We would gamble, we would do anything to pass the time because we were on a court two that never shut down. So
Yeah.
while the staff guys were all on their dinner breaks and waiting for prime time, we were working through it all. And it was brutal. I did it for 10 years. I replaced Louis Rojas on an N Supermo.
Yep.
And I loved every minute of it because it gave me an opportunity to make money and it got me away from baseball. But let me tell you, I'll never go back. I tell people all the time,
Yes,
"Oh, I'm doing the U.S. Open tennis." And I'm like,
I got a
go
question.
right
for
ahead.
you.
Go right.
Question for
But
you.
for someone that's starting out or wants like Mike or even Nick or something like that, those are the events you need to get on
Yeah.
because they need a lot of people. And Adam, same thing. Those events are the ones that we have some camera guys that just aren't good or they don't work on their craft and they're hired. They're hired because sometimes you need bodies, but the connections you can make on those shows with directors and people, and you're working and you're meeting people, and then next thing you know, they go, "Hey, we got a gig next week," and that's exactly what happened to me. I worked with Bruce Troit in Cuba, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, my company Greenline is growing the U.S. Open World Feed. Are you available?" And I was like, "You're damn right, I'm available. Tell me when, how much, and where do I need to go?" And then from that point on, snowball, snowball. You know.
well, good, Chaz. That's how it snowballs, buddy. And you're my snowman for today, buddy. I appreciate you spending time with me,
Wait,
giving
wait,
me
wait.
the
One
time.
last thing.
Wait.
So
Who controls the
I'm
show?
a
You
I'm
or
a
me?
whore. I'm a whore for like celebrity photos
Oh
and.
yeah. Oh no way! You got a Trumpy? You got a Trump
I-
photo?
And
Wait,
I'm
what
not,
show is that
and
from?
to go on the record, I'm not a Trump guy. So it just goes to show you I have
Yeah, they all say that, Ches.
Wait, turn
oh,
off
you
the.
can't
Well,
even see my.
you can't see because you damn chroma keys. You
Wait,
shitty camera.
wait. I have like a book here, and oh wait, let me just click on it real quick. None. So if I go none,
There you
yeah,
go.
there
There
we
you
go.
go. There you go.
All right, so now I'm just ruining things, but anyway, he
Well,
even put me in a magazine, a country magazine with Toby Keith.
Nice.
yeah,
Anyway.
you are a huge country. I mean, I would always make fun of you because when we were working at the Today Show together, and it was a country singer. I mean, I really couldn't care less, unless there were a country singer that was a female, and then maybe I cared a little bit. But the you really love the music. You love
Lou
you
Piniella,
love
I
going
love
down.
him.
You've been to Nashville. You had a good time down there. Nashville's a good town. So, but have you ever done work down there?
No, I almost with the Today Show did, but so on a couple of the career days, I just show, you get a picture with Tony Bennett or I had Justin Bieber, and they're like, "Who's that? What are you doing with that old guy?" Anyway, there's millions of people doing it, and that's all stuff at the Today Show that I do that. Um, like I took a couple pictures today, and I get mocked for it. People abuse me, but that's my own little niche that I do. And this photo album has been shown through family members. My mom loved it. We made her one up, and it gives them something to do. My son had a picture for years with Pamela Anderson, and so he had it in his locker room forever. In 8th grade.
Nice.
So there's a lot of things like that. That's kind of fun.
That's great.
But you
That's
got to
funny.
know when not to cross the line.
Right.
That's the other
I
thing.
mean, that's the other thing too.
You don't cross the line ever. It's not that important to ruin your career.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about celebrity guys. That's one thing, but the beautiful thing about the having the access and the respect for what you do. Sometimes, like you remember Yankees guys like Jim Cott, those announcers, like they were all great guys, and even now Keith and Ron and Gary, like they come into our room and they'll they know you, Chad. I don't know if those guys know me, but they
Some of them don't know
you.
me by name, but they like at the Today Show, they're all just really nice family people. This one was like one of my things. This is Paul Simon when Joe DiMaggio died, and we're out there in center field, And David Cohn always jokes about, he goes, I had the best seat because he was the starting pitcher. And I said, no, you didn't have the best seat for this. And I showed him these pictures of me out there in center field with Paul Simon. And I said, David, I know you pitched that game, but I had a better seat during that song than you did.
You
And,
definitely did. I remember that game because I was the other handheld that was behind the wall that just got him to walk out. We had,
oh, okay.
yeah. So I was like, you had the best shot. That he sang that. Oh, it was so cool.
Yeah, and we used to do handheld intros. I did handheld for 25 years at the Garden, and I just got barreled over a million times. And I told him I can't do it anymore. I'm just getting destroyed as 52. But then we'd have someone like Peter Blank who was like 72, and he'd still be doing mid-court handheld. And I'm like, how are you
Well,
doing
I mean,
this, Peter? You know?
Stendel's just an anomaly too. The guy that's
71, I think he
Those
is.
two guys are out of their minds. That's
he's at the
that's
top
what
of
it
he's
comes down to. Bro's laughing because he knows I right, Mike?
Mike, I don't know how we've
You're
never
out of your
crossed
mind.
paths. I've met two camera guys literally in the last 2 days that I've never met before. No idea. And, I guess they just strictly do golf, and where do you live?
I was originally in New Orleans, moved to Raleigh, North Carolina in 06, and here's where I've been ever since. Doing
Wow.
I did a little college basketball. I don't like doing NBA because they kind of force you to sit on the floor like a dog.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We never did that. That was the
But,
one good thing.
No, but you know what? I'm not a baseball guy. That's why we probably never crossed paths.
Yeah, I mean, I did college football for years with Webb, and those were kind of fun, but the hours stunk because if you had a noon game, you're up at 5 in the morning or whatever after a long set day, and you'd have all the crowds coming in at the Holiday Inn if you're doing a Big Ten thing, and all of a sudden, take care, Adam. All of a sudden, you can't go to sleep, you can't fall asleep. They're partying, and you're like, this is brutal, but. I love the atmosphere in the big house with 105,000 people, and I'm doing a low end zone, and I'm looking around going, you can't top this. Like, this is pretty spectacular. It really is amazing. But one of my things I've never done is I've never done the Masters. I've never been to the Masters. And that's something I always wanted to do with my father-in-law. And hopefully maybe I could do. I put in for tickets every year. I can't get tickets. I want my son to go. He's a big golfer. And so I have regrets
mine
on
is
some of those
mine
things.
is World Cup, and it's coming to New York, man. If Germany,
It may not. It may not.
If Germany makes it, and I can't. I mean, I'll do a presser. I don't care. I'll sit there all night long and wait till the last player talks. I don't care. Just let me. I just want to be in the atmosphere of it. It's fine. Whatever, man. Ches, listen, man. I could do.
I gotta go. I got a baseball game. And I gotta get up at 4 a.m.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thanks for sharing everything, man. I appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Ches.
Mario, thanks for joining as always.
You guys.
Bro, great seeing you, man. Last time we worked together, the last time the big Super Bowl we did with Stendel, we worked pregame in New Orleans for the blackout. Remember that? That was a crazy one. We had a good time.
All right. I'll see you, Hardy. See you, bro, dude.
All right.
Take care, Mike. Take care.
Thank you, everybody, for joining Crew Call Live. That's it for this week. Next week, got to find out.
We'll be here.